My friend is about to ask his girlfriend to marry her, and I'm the only one who knows how unfaithful she is. Do I say anything? Plus updates. Original post. Not sure if this belongs in this sub because it isn't my relationship I'm asking for advice about. If not, apologies. So my good friend Aaron and his girlfriend Mary have been together for almost 7 years. They meet in college and are in a very close relationship. Personally, I would call them extremely codependent. Neither of them really has any friends aside from each other. She doesn't let him have guy friends. In fact, she doesn't let him do a lot of things. He's not allowed to go out past 11, not allowed to drink or smoke. She has to approve of all of his friends. And he's not allowed to be alone with other girls. She's got this guy on a tight leash. The reason why they're still together is that Aaron is completely whipped, and to him she can do no wrong. He talks regularly about how amazed he still is that she finds him attractive. He's a decent looking guy, but she's like supermodel level good looking. They post cutesy couple photos every day. I'm pretty sure she makes him post them, and to everyone who sees them, they appear to be the perfect magical fairytale couple. Anyway, a few weeks ago, he told my boyfriend and I that he was planning on proposing to Mary. Of course, we congratulated him because he seemed super excited. Now here's the issue. A few weeks prior to this, I hung out with a friend of Mary, Allison. Allison told me about a party they went to, where Mary got drunk and slept with her ex. After the party, they began hooking up regularly, and she had a group session with him and a friend of his. Aaron has no knowledge of these hookups. I told my boyfriend about it because he shares my friendship with both of them, and he believes that we need to say something, but I'm not so sure how to even go about that. It will destroy him, ruin their entire relationship, and maybe a friendship as well. However, I think in the long term he will be unhappy with a marriage where she's so controlling. Not even that, but if she's completely okay with cheating on her long-term partner, it will be the same once they're married. Is telling him the right thing to do. Edit. To clarify, the cheating has not been going on for 6 years as far as I'm aware, and the hookups occurred recently. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Tell him before it's too late. He's your friend. You gotta let him know. Ouch, poor guy. I feel for him. I'd want to know. I feel the same way. I ran into a very similar situation. My wife and I shared a 2-bedroom apartment with another married couple that we met on CL. My wife went to a party with his wife one weekend. They had some drinks, and his wife pointed to a guy at the party and just straight up told her, "See that guy? I've been betting him." My wife was shocked. They weren't very close, and she just dropped a bomb on her. So the next day my wife confided in me this story, to where my first reaction was, we definitely have to tell him. Well, I sat him down alone, I believe the next day, and told him everything I was told. Told him I'm sorry he had to hear it from me, but if I was him, I'd want to know. He was devastated but thanked me. He confronted her later on and she denied everything, called my wife and I some choice names. I believe liar and homewrecker was in there too. She cursed me out and was very hateful towards me as she moved her things out. In the end, he got a divorce and is now years later is happier. WTF. That's scary being in a relationship thinking everything alright but your significant other is smashing another person on the side. He might not take it very well, but I think you should tell him. He can do what he wants with the information, but as a friend, you should absolutely tell him before he marries this chick. I second this, but be prepared for him not to believe you. Especially in a codependent relationship, he will probably trust her word over yours. That's what I'm worried about. It's possible that he'll trust her word over yours if he's really blinded by love. But at the same time, why lie? You're all friends. There's no reason for you to tell him she's cheating other than it being the truth. Now for the first update. Some of the commenters are calling me a bad friend for not telling him immediately. So after giving it some thought and reading the comments, I have decided to tell him as soon as I can, most likely tonight if he's free to hang out. To those saying I'm being a bad friend for waiting, this is a huge deal, and it will greatly affect the future of Aaron, and I want to make sure I break the news in the correct way. This man is blinded by love. He's not going to be expecting this news at all, and his whole life is about to change. I'm definitely not going to do nothing, because he deserves much better than this woman, and he deserves to know the truth about what he's getting into if he still decides to marry her. I'm expecting a full-blown crap storm. I'm expecting him to be hurt, angry, in disbelief. So I don't believe it's wrong that I'm asking for a bit of advice on how to approach this. Should I have told him sooner? Maybe, but what difference would a few weeks make? For all those asking, I'll post an update when I do it. Update: I've talked to Aaron since I posted this, and he is coming over tonight to talk and hang out. My boyfriend and I are going to tell him together because he knows the situation as well. A few of you have suggested I talk to Mary first to give her a chance to come clean. While that's a good idea, I'm not as close to her as I am to Aaron, and I don't see that going over well. I would much rather tell him and then leave it to him to decide what to do from there. Update: new information has been received from the third-party friend Allison. She has sent me screenshots of texts that do prove Mary has been involved with her ex. They send messages regularly and he has sent her private photos. Update: LMAO, I'll just mention that Aaron just got to our house, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Will update later if I can. Thank you all so much for the kind messages and helping me work this hot mess out. I've been stressing about this all day, but I believe I am doing the right thing in telling him. Quick little edit. As of 11 Eastern Standard Time. We all talked for a good bit. I told him what I heard from Allison, and it went better than expected. But he was still pretty mad and upset. We are all just chilling and drinking now. I'll post the whole story tomorrow. Thanks again for all the replies. Now for the full update. So I got lots of feedback on what to do here. A good majority of the commenters told me to say something. To clarify, it may not have been clear in the original post, but I was never planning on doing nothing. Of course you gotta tell your bro if they're being cheated on. I just was not sure how to approach the situation. Some of the commenters gave me some very helpful advice. Some of you told me to talk to the girlfriend first. Some of you told me to wait. Some told me to gather a bunch of evidence first, which I ended up getting from Allison, the third-party friend. Some of you guys got angry with me for not telling him sooner, told me I was a bad friend. Some were sure he wouldn't believe me. Some predicted the girlfriend would deny it all. Well, all of you were somewhat right. Here's how it went down. I messaged Allison early on in the day, shortly after I made the post, because typing it all out brought my guilt and apprehension from the situation to the surface. I said to Allison that I needed to tell Aaron and asked whether or not she had proof. This was when she sent me the screenshots of the text messages. Aaron came over at around 8, and what was great was that Allison came over too. We all sat down and talked for a bit, and we all told him our suspicions about Mary. Allison showed him the text screenshots of Mary talking to her ex, and also told Aaron all the stories she shared about her intimate encounters. What was the most surprising was his reaction. He took it very well. He first got very quiet and just nodded. Aaron ended up telling us that he had a sneaking suspicion that something was going on. He was not aware of the hookups, but he and Mary had gotten into fights before over the fact that she doesn't allow him near any other girls, but she goes out and flirts with other guys all the time. He told us that she had been distant lately and would leave rather often without telling him where she was going. There were a few other small things he mentioned that told us he was just generally unhappy with his relationship. He knew in his gut something was wrong, but wanted to believe it wasn't true. We started unwinding with some alcohol after that, and it all got way more emotional. He cried, talking about how he felt stupid for not seeing it sooner, how he really loved her and would have given her anything. Then he got angry, at her and even more so at the guy. Some unpleasant and derogatory terms were used to describe her. Ultimately, he told us that he's going to be breaking it off, at least for now. We told him a million times how much better he deserved. He's definitely not going to marry her. Thanks again all for the supportive words and advice. We saved a good man from heartbreak. Now for the comments before the update 3 years later. She doesn't allow him near any other girls, but she goes out and flirts with other guys all the time. Every single time. Extreme jealousy is a projection. The craziest part is how they can disconnect the reasons for their jealousy from their partner's reciprocal feelings. Anybody who goes around and flirts with random strangers is a bad partner. Who's to say he won't just cheat on me? I mean, yeah, I'm going out and flirting and cheating. But error, brain connection missing. The old, we are the heroes of our own stories perception. You've got to push that self-critique down to get that level of protective over the same rules you're breaking yourself. I don't know. I chalk it more up to the it takes one to know one theory. It would never occur to me to check someone's Facebook PMs or Twitter DMs or whatever, but someone who cheated like that knows to look there, and since they don't respect them, they trample all over privacy. You did well, OP. Hopefully Mary doesn't try to manipulate him or convince him to stay. People like Mary have a knack for that. Keep by his side and make sure he has people stand up to her with him. The more help he can get through this. Also try and have him break things off over text or in public. Mary seems like the type to react very badly. Agreed here. I was in a manipulative relationship where the girlfriend took advantage of my inexperience and steady paycheck to feed her validation. Thankfully, my tolerance meter is quite low as it is, so this only lasted 3 months. However, the psychological damage was already done, and it took me years to fully come to terms with the situation. The part that I am still not able to shake off is how there were plenty of friends around me at the time who just let me stay in that disaster relationship without ever once stepping in to tell me to wake up. I am forever grateful to the real friends who did exactly that, 2 of whom were groomsmen at my wedding. Here for great friends who really care about their own. Edit, I understand the logic behind being wary of my possible bad reaction to people calling out how the girlfriend was a bad person, but I still believe that true friends don't leave you to stay in your misery. And here I am in a similar situation like yours, feeling a bit stupid because after 18 months of dating a master of gaslighting and victim complex, I still haven't fully recovered from that, even if 6 years have gone by. Latest update 3 years later. For anyone asking, they are married as of last summer. No clue how they're doing, as my boyfriend and I have cut all contact aside from like Facebook and stuff. They have a dog and wife wants kids now. Husband is still hella whipped. Your description of him gave off the impression he has very low self-esteem. You mix that in a bowl with someone controlling or worse like Mary, and you get the incredibly difficult task of trying to separate the flour from the salt. I hope he one day learns the self-worth to separate from that vile woman. We always got the vibe that he had low self-esteem and just settled for her because he didn't think he could do better. I feel bad for him, but also you gotta stand up to that crap. Being alone is better than being with a horrible person who doesn't care about you. That's why we kinda cut contact. We told him not to do it. You did everything you could. It reaches a point where the kindest thing to do is to let them experience the consequences of their actions. Honestly, you did what true friends do. You were honest and you supported him. The choice was his, and that's when you need to protect yourself. You don't want to see someone you care about throwing themselves into a wall. You tried to protect him, now protect yourself. It's not an easy path, and good on you for recognizing it. How frustrating to tell a friend all of this and then watching them carry on with the relationship anyway. We cut contact for this reason. Let them be stupid together, lol. I had a similar situation, but it was the guy cheating. Told my friend with screenshots and even evidence and face-to-face conversations from the girls he cheated with. My friend called us all liars. Friendship was ruined. She still married him. I hear the marriage is a fairly separate lives kind of thing, with them both doing their own thing. But he is rich and she was broke when they met. I guess money talks in this situation. And in yours, looks talk. Last story. I slept with my girlfriend's mom 2 years ago. I can't tell her because I know she'll dump me and it'll probably end her parents' marriage. So let me first just say, I'm not the one in the wrong for this, but I have to say it somewhere because it's eating me alive. 2 years ago when I was 19, I met this woman while I was working as a personal trainer. She was in her 40s and looked like a 25-year-old. She took an interest in me and invited me out a number of times, and we did it a few times. After one of our meetups, she said it was wrong for someone of her age to be with me because I was too young, then changed gyms. My girlfriend and I have been together for just under a year. She's amazing and I love her so much. 2 months ago, I met her family for the first time, and it was a shock. Like, she took me to the house where I had hooked up with a woman, and I felt like I was being pranked. Before I see her mom, it hits me. I have a type and they both fit that type, so it makes sense. I've been hooking up with a single mom, and I'm now with her daughter. Then her mom and dad pop out, and we both almost crap ourselves. I meet her parents, and they've been married for 20 years. I realize I have been a married woman's boy toy, and I feel incredibly ashamed. Later that week, her mom finds my number and tells me that I can never speak of what happened. She says that my girlfriend will hate me forever because I'll be the one who broke up her parents. So now I'm stuck keeping this secret. She invited me to spend Thanksgiving with her family, and since my family is 1,000 miles away and I already told her I don't plan on going home, I don't really have an excuse to not go. So now I'm going to have to sit there at a table and enjoy Thanksgiving dinner with the woman I had an affair with, her husband, and her daughter whom I am now in love with. I'm screwed. Now for the advice. Damn, the mother is certainly projecting and deflecting her guilt onto you. Not your fault, my dude. The guilt isn't yours to shoulder. Agreed. Your girlfriend would be upset with her mom more than anything. I mean, she should be, but when emotions are high, I'm sure she would take out anger on him too. You're right. Pretty sure she will be angry at both. She'll be more angry with you if this comes out years from now. I don't know, but if you're serious about the girl, she might need to know before too long. 1. Not your fault and you did nothing to be ashamed of. 2. Are you living in a village? LOL. We live in a city. I just got really unlucky. If the mom is hitting on personal trainers at the gym, chances are you weren't her first or last trip to the rodeo. So it was probably just a matter of time before she hooked up with her daughter's future boyfriend. Definitely her fault and not yours. She's definitely cheated with other people over the last 20 years. I'd say invite your girlfriend to a park or something and have her read this exact post. If she wants to break up with you, then you need to respect that. Like many other comments say, if you don't tell her and she manages to find out in the future, she's going to break up with you anyways. The Thanksgiving invitation is the perfect reason to finally tell her too. Explain you didn't feel like it was morally okay to sit at a family table being in that situation, and despite all your reservations, you had to tell her. If she was a good person, she'd understand how you feel. But she's also still allowed to not want to be with you anymore. Couldn't agree with this more. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, so just do the morally right thing in this situation. You never know, you still might be able to have your cake and eat it. Your girlfriend might look past it and stay with you for being morally adjusted, truthful, and trustworthy. But if she doesn't, you can hold your head high and be safe in the knowledge that you are a good person.